place that I've dreamed of, where I can free my mind. I hear the sounds of the season and lose all sense of time. Feels like we're in a dream, you know what I mean.
Right there, Camp McIntosh.
And that is everything you need to know to get in touch with Camp McIntosh. If, in fact, you want to join us at our 5th annual CFN retreat, or just in case you want to head up for some early up at Camp Mac, or perhaps throughout the course of the year, if it's just somewhere that you're looking to book, Camp McIntosh is a great option. Offers some trophy fishing as well as some good eats, lots of fun, and it is a very, very unique location. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. It is CFN Live, as it always is each and every Monday. We're so glad to have you along. For those who aren't aware, this has been our 10th anniversary. We are in the last few weeks of celebrating our 10th anniversary, and I want to thank everyone who purchased a CFN jersey. These are 10th anniversary commemorative jerseys, and unfortunately, come January 1st, these specific jerseys are no longer going to be available. So if you want one with the 10th anniversary logo on it, you're more than welcome. In 2026, they will be changing. Some of the logos might be changing, and a few other little knickknacks and add-ons. Either way, it will be a different jersey and will no longer have the 10th anniversary logo on it. So if you are looking perhaps for that last-minute Christmas gift or something that you just want to commemorate and have that's a bit of a keepsake, I can assure you that is it. Also, for all those who haven't purchased a CFN hat, or, of course, one of these sexy hoodies that our good buddy Richard Dunlop is showing off, by all means, please get a hold of Richard Dunlop. He will certainly point you in the right direction. These will still be available long after January 1st comes, and, of course, we're into 2026. Lots of things happening. Of course, our Made in Canada tackle shows are still looking for vendors, and we will get a list, and we will post it this Friday, if not earlier, on CFN to make sure that anybody who's a vendor that's looking to sell some product, or at least just do some networking and maybe show yourself off in the community, we'd love to have you, and we will have more information on that. But there's 3 shows currently right now: Chatham, Caledonia, and Kitchener, and we're hoping that all 3 are a go. It has been slow in terms of folks signing up, some a lot quicker than others. It looks like the Caledonia show is going to be a huge success. But unfortunately, Chatham and Kitchener, it is slow to see some of those vendor spots get filled in. And of course, Brad and I are going to be announcing very, very soon the Made in Canada show within the show at the Toronto Sportsman Show, as well as the Ottawa Boat and Outdoor Show. As it is right now, I believe all the vendor spots have already been taken for the Ottawa show. We will find out where and how many we have for the Toronto Sportsman Show. We're going to be reaching out to Mike momentarily within this week, to find out a little bit more in regards to what's available. I know there's a lot of buzz, lots of interest from you vendors that have been a part of the Made in Canada platform and want to also strut your stuff on the big stage, which of course is the Toronto Sportsman Show. And we will get a lot of that information for you in the coming days and weeks. Always a pleasure to see these folks join us. How you doing, Stephen? Nice to have you along. Adrian, always a pleasure to have you. Steve Shaw, yeah, baby. I figured you'd love that bass that we posted this morning for you, bud. For all you do for us, it was the least we could do for you. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Dean Howard's in the house. How you doing? Mark, I got to ask, how we doing when it comes to ice up on Nipissing? I'm hearing some great news that there might actually be some, I certainly don't want to use the word safe, but it's possible that there might be some available ice for anglers that are interested. If you can throw whatever updates that you can share, because I know there's a lot of folks chomping at the bit to get on the hard water. And I know Nipissing is one of those places that are readily available and definitely a destination for most. So I appreciate what you've shared there. That's great stuff. Love you, CFNers, stepping up like you have. James is in the house. How you doing? My buddy Ed. How you doing, Ed? Always a pleasure to see you. The next one, Christian De Silva. How you doing, brother? Nice to see you, my friend. George is in the house. Always a pleasure to see you, George. Thanks so much. Lake Nipissing, come see, come sa. I'd like to say that it's a lot closer than it was last week in terms of being ready. Joe's in the house. Nice to see you, Joe. Tony, thanks for all the sharing you do, my friend. Truly appreciate it. There he is, Richard Dunlop. And, of course, Pauline. Nice to have you along, Pauline. Nice to see you as well. And interaction with, yeah, absolutely. That's awesome stuff. Folks, we got lots to discuss, lots to talk about. We're going to be bringing up Big Jim momentarily. But this episode is all about ice fishing. Obviously, with everything that's going on with the weather, this extended cold period that we're going to have after this next storm system comes through Ontario, I would say that most of the temperatures are going to plummet. Jay and I are going to be talking a lot about that in his segment. Lawrence is along as well. So I would say, without further ado, let's bring on the big man, Big Jim McLaughlin, right after this.
When he was born, he tried to reel in the umbilical cord. Bass named him as their personal best. His power pole came with a stripper. Forward-facing sonar uses him to find fish. Chuck Norris is his co-angler. He is the most interesting fisherman in the world. Stay fishing, my friends.
Yo.
Yeah, there is the man, the myth, the legend, the one we look forward to each and every Monday, the one and only Big
Hat on,
Jim
look good here.
McLaughlin. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Wait, hang on. I'm not done with makeup.
Oh, holy smokes. Sorry to rush you. I didn't mean to rush you like this. We'll be more prepared next Monday, I promise.
Thank you. Make a note of that, Tammy. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then this is
Jim.
back, eh?
This is it. Yeah. We are, I would say, well into, if not past the halfway point of that transition that we all talk about. Folks out west have already been ice fishing, and we're seeing some great returns and photos from some of that hard water action. And of course, it is just starting. I would say it's on the cusp of starting here in Ontario and maybe Quebec for that matter as well. But with that, Jim, I can honestly say, there you go. And knock on wood, Jim, you know what we haven't heard, and I hope we don't hear all winter, is that someone has fallen through or there was a
guy showed me ice. It's got to be 7 inches. Because some people questioned him on it, why are you showing those? Because it's the same shit every year, right? And somebody questioned him on it, and he put a picture of the ice, and he put his rod down and caught the first guide on it, and brought it up, and it's I would say at least 6 inches, maybe 7.
Wow.
So that's that's enough ice. Period. I mean, I showed you the kids skating behind the house here on the weekend.
True enough.
Parents out there shoveling it all off and everything else, and so it's cool. It's good. It's a little bit more of a traditional winter, but
yeah, absolutely.
All this cold we were supposed to get that was supposed to be minus 25 is minus 14 now, and you know what I mean? Yeah. Supposed to cool off up in Ottawa tonight, though. Minus 24.
Well, and this is the thing. Like, I mean, these storms are coming through. We got a clipper coming through midweek that's going to bring us some snow. It's going to bring the temperatures up a little bit. And then after that, I don't want to say they're going to plummet because that's a little bit too dramatic, but they are definitely going to go down. It's going to extend the hard water ice growing season at night.
It's here to stay now, yeah.
I don't see it disappearing. And, of course, whatever snow we do get is going to only insulate the ice that we already have. So that's a plus. That's a bonus. Jim, going back a few years to when you were getting excited for ice season and you were getting prepped and you were getting ready, things might be a little bit different than they are now in terms of technology and what's available to an ice angler.
Night and day.
So with that being said, I'm going to use our good friend Gord Peiser's checklist This was available in Outdoor Canada. And with that, of course, someone like yourself, we're going to go through Lawrence as well as Jay. This is the checklist that we are privileged to. And it's right from Outdoor Canada, of course, provided by Gord Pizer. So with that being said, let's start with the most obvious. And of course, the most obvious is
with the lunch section.
So we are going to get to the food. Trust me, we will get to the food. But first and foremost, back then, Jim, when you were getting ready for a hard water day, say it was a Saturday, maybe midweek, how were you dressing? Like, what kind of jacket were you wearing that back then? What kind of pair of bibs?
Just older ski jacket type things with a hoodie under it.
Yeah.
You wanted the hoodie to get something up around your neck, which is like the neck warmers. When you wore a heavy duty hoodie with nice fleece on it, it got around the neck and it made a huge difference. Made an absolutely huge difference. We didn't have, you didn't go out and get your ice team coat. It didn't exist. It wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was that type of a thing. But the wool sweater, the bibs came along. Gloves have come miles. In fact, it's really funny. I found in a box here the other day in the garage, and I'm giving these to somebody for Christmas.
Oh boy.
They're not on here, but I found a pair of the Ice Armor mitts.
Oh wow.
I mean, these things are like night and day compared to what I had. We used to wear those kangaroo skin ones with the liners.
Yeah.
And we wore wore those very simply because the wind didn't go through them. The wind didn't go through them. And we used to go to Mark's Work Warehouse and buy the cheap liner mitts, the wool mitts. And I'd probably go through 2 packs of 5 of those over the winter because you'd have your hand, because I fished a lot of panfish or walleyes usually. So you're always handling fish. You'd put your hand back in the glove because it was frozen. You'd have slime on it. So the end of the day, sometimes you took them out and they were just such a mess. It was scary. And they just went in the garbage. You didn't bother washing them. Sometimes you did if you remembered, but right. That's how we combated that. But it's all night and day, Scotty, and people don't see it. They don't realize, we are lucky with a fish trap and you were just about freezing to death in it, even with a heater.
Yeah.
Now they got the insulated ones. There's no leaks. There's so many things. So it's cool. Yeah. The only thing I wouldn't have had there would have been a helmet, but most of the time we were not on, we were either driving cars or walking.
And hand warmers. Hand warmers weren't something that we had back in the 80s. I think we may have started to see them in the 90s.
They just started back then, but they lasted for like 15 minutes.
Right.
So you saved them for the ride home or the walk back. So you didn't freeze to death and they find you on the lake in the spring.
One thing that I didn't see on here, which again, it holds true even with some of the new synthetic stuff that's out there, but wool socks. It's something I swear by. Cotton is
killer.
I love cotton, but as a sock in the wintertime, it's the worst thing you could possibly wear. Wool is something I highly recommend. But I know Jay's going to talk about a lot of the synthetic materials that are out there that, have the moisture wicking and all that stuff. But we're just talking.
Scotty, a towel
is
like, people used to say to me, they'd get in the Voyager with me, the 2-seater, and most of them had never seen a flasher because you got to remember, I was in the growth period when they still went out in the wooden huts and got drunk, as I always joke about, They could have done that in the garage a lot easier and more comfortable. But it was something that they used to wonder why I used to have 3 or 4 or 5 towels. You always see me in the boat. When you're in the boat with me, what do I have? I have towels hanging on everything, and I have a back towel to be sure you can always dry your hands. And we're just out in the fall. You know what I mean? And in the summertime, the towels, Jay, towels are they're drying your hands. It's monstrous. It's monstrous. I've seen, especially when you're fishing panfish and you're hawking them out, like regularly. I never wore gloves, so it's what you do, but a towel was just indispensable.
100%. Of course, boots are important. I forget who it was. Hand warmers, obsolete. Pete, I've got the battery powered gloves as well. They they certainly come in handy. Mark talks about the boots. Back then we didn't really have a huge selection. Kodiaks were the in thing, and I know a
You
lot of
bought
folks.
them, yeah, you bought them a size bigger than you wore so you could put an extra pair of socks on.
Yeah,
And depending on the conditions, you'd put a plastic bag on the outside. So, on the outside of the last socks that you put on, just so if you
exactly.
did get wet, you could, you didn't have to worry about it.
When it came to clothing or garments, is there anything on the list that you would wear or bring that isn't on the list?
Scotty, probably not.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, Gord Pizer wrote the list.
Yep.
The guy spends half the winter on the ice, so he knows what's going on.
Amen.
But the stuff is
So,
so much better today. Everything is so much better. Like if I would have worn a helmet back then, it would have been a hockey helmet because that's about the effect, the difference it had. You know what I'm saying? And just in case you had to shake someone off an area you wanted to fish, you were ready to go. Tony will like that one.
oh, that's hilarious. That's funny. So, getting to your favorite part, of course, it is mine too. I love being out on the water and cooking. Back in the day, we didn't really have a lot of options. A thermos, obviously, we would bring a thermos full of soup or stew or what have you. But there's so much available now, Jim. But what were some of the neat little things that knickknacks, food items that you would bring out on the ice with you?
Beef jerky and egg sandwiches.
Egg sandwiches. I love it.
Egg
Yep.
sandwiches all the way around. Used to buy them at Bennett's Bait and Tackle. Mrs. Bennett used to make them, Linda, and they were the best egg sandwiches. Boy, oh boy, I still remember that. We used to go in there and buy 3 or 4 of those. They were on the old Wonder Bread, which you shouldn't put near your body now, they tell you. And they
Mhm.
were $2 each, so you'd get a couple or 3 of those for the day, and a bag of beef jerky, and away you go. They'd bring a bottle of water, but it would usually freeze, so you just
Mhm.
got thirsty.
So true. With Jay's segment, we'll get a little bit more into some of the detail when it comes to cooking apparatuses and some of the new things that are available to us. But yeah, when it comes to cooking, sometimes it's just as easy as boiling some water. There's so much you can do with boiling water, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about that later. As I said, as we get to Jay's segment. Now, some of the essentials. Did you ever sleep over out on the ice, Jim?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, too many beers, just passed out in the hut. No, no, I never did that. I wasn't a drinker on the ice. That's why I often joked about if I wanted to drink, I'd go to the garage. It
Yeah,
was that the thing. I didn't think you should mix the two. But
yeah.
yeah, here's another list. The same thing too. Having your stuff together. I mean, look at. I mean, a battery booster. There's something new that
It is.
you didn't think of. Yeah.
It solely because back then, Jim, it would just be we would bring extra batteries, right? Like we just bring a
Yeah.
pack of
It was.
batteries with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matches, obviously, we'd have matches with us,
Yeah.
whether you were a smoker or just someone that wanted to make sure that if you needed a fire, you had something readily available to start one. But yeah, in regards to and then of course the tents and the huts came. Uh, Obviously, when they became more mobile, they were quite stationary back in the day, and even outfitters today still have stationary huts, but they still move them from time to time, as you know. But when was your first hut? When did you get your first portable hut?
First portable hut I got that was mine. Dave Gens gave to me the first time he came up and spent a week here with me, and he gave me the Voyager that they had, the 2-seater,
Yeah.
and that was before the yoke rule came in and everything for having it. And I used to pull that thing everywhere I went with like 25 feet of rope. And I don't know what it weighed, but I wouldn't want to pull it around the backyard now, let alone a mile across Big Rito or wherever we went,
And this is the thing. Like I saw some there's some new otter I don't know, like toboggans, if you will, that they've come
Yep.
out that you can just pimp the crap out of, whether you want to put electronics on it, whether you want to put skis on it. There's so many different things. Nick Linder showed some of the DIY things that he was doing to his otter sled, and I'll tell you, it's truly remarkable what's out there, and what's actually even more interesting is what's to come with some of these advancements. But yeah, very,
I'm gonna
very
find you
cool.
here. I found some pictures the other day from the ice fishing days of exactly what I used. Of course, I can't find them now. That's what happens when you have 5,000 pictures on your phone and you wonder why your phone takes a while to die.
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't know where it got to here, but no, like Scotty, I'm going to cycle back on it again. It's a complete different world. I see these guys out there today ice fishing, and they talk about all the little toys that they've got. Well, bring them back 25 years, 20 years ago, and bring them out. Complete different world.
100%.
It just wasn't the same. But you know what I mean? It's great that it got better. There's no ifs, ands, ors, or buts about that, because I don't know too many guys that come home from ice fishing now and they're so cold they have to strip their clothes off and get in the shower. You don't see that happen now.
No.
They've got huts. They've got heaters,
100%.
the heater blades and everything else that they have out there.
100%.
That type of stuff. I mean, they've made this stuff so much lighter. It's nowhere near as heavy as it used to be. Here we go. Here's a few here. Here's a picture. Now, this is with the fish hut folded down. This was in a big American magazine, and I did a thing here with Tim Allard.
Okay, yeah.
And he wrote an article on it. Here you are with the fish trap once again with it folded down.
Yep.
So you can sit on it. That's out of the Bay of Quinny, and here's one of my favorite things ever.
Yes, absolutely.
When Clam did that, I got a kick out of that.
That's awesome.
That was good, yeah. But there's other ones here that I have. I'll look through them here while we're chatting, trying to find them. But yeah, it's a completely different thing, Scotty. It's completely different. Like, I can't stress that to you enough. I mean, just the flash. I mean, forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
What that's done to ice fishing.
Amen.
I'm sure it's got to be hurting the flasher business big time. And like huge. It has to be.
I think it did, and I'm not suggesting that it's not still the way it is, and I'm sure with the advancements that we're continuing to see come from the big companies, I would imagine that technology is something that they're still yearning for the next generation of. But there is discussion now that the fish are starting to get accustomed to that pinging, and perhaps
10% of the fish have ever heard that in their life, Scotty.
And you know what? It's not, and I would never disagree with you, Jim. I'm just hearing more from tournament anglers that are starting to see,
because they're going to the same spot, the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, they could be showing it to the same fish. I mean, when we used to fish with the flashers in the summertime,
yeah,
when we got over top of fish, Rocky and I, we would turn the flashers off and drop a marker buoy. Why? Because we were told it affected the fish. I never saw it affect them. I mean, when we found fish in milfoil, if they were grouped, we caught them. We had 25 pounds for 6 fish. It's all there was to it. It used to be like that every weekend, because we looked for fish that were that were in there. Oh, I thought I hit the jackpot there, but not quite. Hey, you recognize it? You recognize this picture? Where this came from? Oh, let me find a good one. There's a whole bunch in here. You'll recognize this fish. You probably caught it.
No, but I know who did.
That's at the pond.
I did. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I remember that. I remember you telling me that wasn't even the biggest one. One was.
Yeah, no, JP was shocked when I showed him the one I had in the bucket.
Yeah.
Keep it for pictures, and he saw me catch that one, and he came over, and I had one that was literally like 14 and a half. It was like 2 pounds. Like, it was stupid. There's on your little pond too.
Yeah, maybe.
The walleyes, there was a whole bunch of them. And here's the Three Stooges.
Oh, I love it.
I like your balaclava.
That's awesome, man. Some good memories. And I'll tell you, it's amazing how many years it's been since we did that.
What is that, like 6 years?
6, 7 years ago,
6,
dude.
7 years, because it was way before COVID. Eh?
No kidding.
Man, there's some old pictures on here, Scotty. I gotta.
Oh, I can imagine.
Cool. Here's oh, where did it go? The Vexillar Princess. Is it gonna catch her? No, it's not gonna get her, kiss her, eh?
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's the one that's gonna be the lawyer now. He got accepted to Carleton.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it's I tell you, ice fishing, the other part of it, Scotty, it's a wonderful social event. It's
Yeah.
not like boat fishing. It can be a social event. Well, look at us out there on your
100%.
pond.
Yep.
That was more of a social thing than anything else,
Which is exactly what we wanted it to be, and I'm glad it was for everybody that
Yeah, and
that
there's
came.
the social aspect of it right there.
Amen, brother.
There's one guy there ain't with us anymore, but
No, unfortunately
you
not.
know, yeah. So funny. The other day, some guy tried to hack, I guess, his Facebook page, and I got a friend request from him.
I did this. I did actually this year as well. I shared it with you.
Brought my heart to my just. But yeah, no.
Oh
I
well,
don't know where
and
these
then
other
of
ones
course,
went. I had. What's that?
not to take you away from a trip down memory lane, but of course, the last but not least, and there wasn't as much to choose from. And if I'm wrong, you're going to correct me. But when it came to tackle options, presentations, was there way more now than there was before, or did
Yeah.
guys do their own DIY um, little variations to stuff that they used during the soft water season? Did they then transfer them over to hard water? And was there any in particular that you
Some of it.
remember?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, rods and reels. They've only gotten better as with that. I mean, sonar, as we just talked, the sky's the limit. Minnow heads and bait and stuff like that. I was never a real minnow head type guy. I know Gord Pizer loves it, but a bit of it. Tackle bags. I had my little box with the clamp on top there, and that's what I used. You always had 2 or 3 skimmers. I don't think I really owned a rod holder. I know I used to keep some of those little when we did the Climate HT things. We used to have the little plastic ones that went on the side of the bucket, and we keep it in the front corner, just so if you wanted to put your rod down, you didn't lose it.
You're right.
Those little plastic ones that just hook on the side of the bucket. And we'd have a couple of those, and I'd have them screwed on. I'd have a hole through the bucket, and the thing was screwed to it with a bolt, so it couldn't fall off, eh? And you'd put the rod in there if you wanted to, grab an egg sandwich or a quick drink of water. If you wanted to rig something for when you brought your line back up, we'd have a little string hanging there with one of these on it. Still here? No, they're gone. One of the little things. One of the little things with the light to make the glow in the dark stuff work.
Yep.
Which I always got a kick out of because it worked for about 4.5 seconds and was dark anyway. It didn't make that much of a difference. I remember Dave Gans solved that for me one day. He said, "Jim, just use the glow red and don't worry about it." And I asked him why, and he said, "Trust me."
That's awesome.
When Dave Gans tells you to do something, you just do it.
Amen.
It's that simple, eh? But just once again, going through that list there, everything is better now. Everything that was on that list is better now.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like the industries have responded. People don't realize. I mean, God, you go into Gagnon's now or something like that. The amount of stuff that they have there, it's crazy.
Yeah,
The amount of ice fishing stuff, and the ice fishing stuff. The ice fishing section used to be a 4x8 sheet of pegboard. I mean, you look at the stuff that they've got now. It's so superior to what we had back then. Like little things like, I was just talking to a buddy that dropped by here today, and one of the most deadly things that's come out in recent years, I don't even remember the name of this now, was this little thing that Clam has, and it just looks like a little jig and spoon, but it's jointed in the middle.
Yeah.
This is they sell hundreds of thousands of these. They sell piles of them. They're just absolutely awesome. I mean, adding in tungsten and stuff like that, it's just, there's just no end to it out there. I mean, simple little thing, that's a little box, that little Clam box. We didn't have stuff like this. It's just got a few
So
odds and ends in it. We didn't have stuff like that. I mean, even Vexilar has their little boxes that you can stick whatever you want in here. I've got a couple of those little Z vibes and things in here still kicking around. I mean,
Yep.
we didn't have stuff like this. Nobody fished a rattle bait for walleyes. A rattle bait was for smallmouth or largemouth on flats to cover a lot of water. Now they jerk them up and down underneath the boat. I just posted a jackal thing on Facebook. Go and look at it on the page and see it. And it's like a vertical jigging thing I've never seen. They use them in Japan all the time. It's on the jackal. I think it's jackal bass something or whatever. I'm not sure, but you should take a look at it. It's a really cool. It's a really cool page. But I'll tell you right now what it's called. It is called jackal bass fishing. And the translation didn't work on it. Oh, it did. It works now. It's called the Speed Vibe.
Wow.
And it's a vertical jigging thing, and they're not using it. There's no ice. You know what I mean? These guys aren't ice fishing in Japan. At least I don't think they do. But it shows them using it vertically along some pilings and things, walking on the shore along the dock, catching the heck out of largemouths, you know? And I look at it, and they show some underwater footage, and I thought, I wouldn't mind jerking that around underneath the ice, you know?
Amen
Just
to
like
that.
the rattle baits, eh? Nobody talked about rattle baits. It's huge, eh? And the stuff there's just more and more of it every year. They've got all these other little spoons now that have that Frostbite's got a bunch of stuff with those little flappers back and forth. The Streamside has stuff like that now.
Yep.
There's just so many different things.
Is there
I mean,
anything that you could think of that has lasted through the test of time? You know, one thing that comes to my mind is the presentation of using a spoon to not only attract fish, but you know it does through pounding it on the bottom, kicking up sediment. That is one thing that I see a lot of folks still use. That I remember my grandfather using. You know, back when I can't even remember. Stuff like that is always seemed to last. Is there anything else that you can think of that has lasted the test of time?
Well, yeah, the spoons. I would say what were the big three, like Swedish Bassmasters, Williams Whitefish the ice jig, the Williams ice jig, I think might have been close to the biggest, but that's because of the ice fishing influence in Quebec.
Exactly.
Rex was in Quebec. It was monstrous. I mean, when I talk about a 4x8 sheet of pegboard, you'd go to Quebec, there'd be a line of Swedish Pimples, a line of Castmasters, and there'd be like 15 lines of every color and shape and size of Williams whitefish, you know? So it's what has shiner minnow on a hook. Yeah. Live bait works.
And I was going to ask you, like, is that something that was allowed back then? Did you do that a lot, Jim, where you had a rod set up with a dead sticking minnow while you did your thing?
I would just do it with maybe about a 6-inch dace or a sucker with a small quick strike rig. And the number of big fish that I caught while fishing for bluegills or walleyes or something, the number of like 35, 40-inch pike I caught in the big Reno on that rod, all of a sudden you'd look out the window and you'd see the tip just going there, right? And away you'd go, you know, you'd flip the thing down. But then after you had the fish trap for a year, the plastic used to go yellow, so you couldn't see in the window. So if you didn't get a new one sewn in that was clear, I had a buddy of mine come to me once, and he brought this really thin plexiglass, and they bolted it in and cut the plastic out, and they sealed it with this caulking they had, and it was in it when I sold it. The guy thought it was the greatest thing ever. He wanted to know where to get more. He wanted to put more windows in it to see, because he had a bunch of kids he used to bring ice fishing. But and I think like the biggest one of all, the Rapala Jig and Wrap. It's still the biggest selling lure in the world, and I'm sure it's taken more fish than any other lure. It's probably taken more fish than any other, group of lures put together, like all the spoons or something like that out there. I mean, when you look at the way the Jig and Wrap has been copied in the last decade, I mean, there's got to be 20 companies making them.
You're probably very close, if not more.
Yeah, it used to be none. And I mean, when you look at some of the colors that they have on them now, even, I mean, it used to be some plain old colors. I got one little one left in here. And when you think, when you think when you look at the colors on this little thing right here, all those purples and everything else around that, I don't know whether you can see it, but you used to get forward colors, and that was it. I used to use the ivory one with the little chartreuse tip on the nose. That was when I went to Quinny. Very seldom did I not outfish the group, and it was always when I got down to that or a 1-inch long spoon.
Wow.
A little glow in the dark red spoon, and I got that from Dave Gens once again. When things were tough, you went to that 1-inch little spoon.
Interesting.
And it just worked. And the number of times I did it was scary. And it wasn't because I was a better fisherman than them. I really believe that certain lakes do have preferences of things that I don't know whether it's water clarity, the visibility, what it is. But you see professional walleye guys and you see professional bass guys. They have boxes with lake names on them, with certain stuff in them, and that's the reason why. That
Makes
things like
sense.
that work. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Now, last question. Put you on the spot. Was there anything that you used back in the day that is no longer available, but you wish would come back?
Oh, I don't remember the name of it. When Shimano first made ice fishing rods, they made a panfish rod.
Okay.
I got 2 of them. And I gave one of them to Dave Gens. And he pretty near had to run for the outhouse, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like he looked at it, he bent it, and it had a reel and a line and everything. And he just looked at me and he said to me, "Yeah, I'm using this today." And him and his fat boys, because that's all everybody used for panfish in the beginning was a fat boy. I don't know how many millions of those they sold, but I mean, he said he told me it was the best rod he ever used for panfish. Wow. And I think it was like 1995, and it was, it was the most inexpensive rod, had bent wire guides, no, nice to hear. You know what I'm saying, Tom?
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing was just freaking dreamy. It was dreamy. Awesome. Yeah. And then I saw one come along that HT had, and it was pretty close to it. And it was really funny. It was one of the ones that the Lindners designed when they were with HT. And it was their panfish rod. And I don't know who came up with the Shimano ones. I'm assuming it was guys from Wisconsin or something, Minnesota. They had some people they worked with there at the time. And I'm sure that's where they came out, and that's why they were the same. But those rods were dreamy. Yeah. But there's basically, Scotty, there's just hardly anything. Like probably like 2% of the stuff that we use ice fishing is it's all better. There's a couple of percentage of things that would be the same, but everything has just been made better. It doesn't break everything you had when you ice fished broke.
Yeah.
It also used to be minus 35 often.
True.
Just like how many times have you heard me rant about guys banging ice augers on the ice? Yep. Going out with the auger. I got to get it seated first so it turns right, and banging it on the ice. And then wondering why they're cutting for 2 minutes and they haven't got through 10 inches of ice.
So funny.
Like
so true. Keith's asking, what would be your oldest ice fishing rod that you have?
There's a broken one on one of the shelves in the garage out there. I don't know why I don't throw it in the garbage can. It's been kicking around out there forever.
Sentimental reasons. You got to figure it's sentimental reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look at the number and see if anything rings up here.
Well, listen, dude, we've taken a half hour of your time. That is quite a skirt, quite a bait.
Can you imagine what's going to happen when that gets blades and everything? Because we'll take it up to about here with blades.
I'm going to dream about it tonight, I'll tell you.
The boys from Dadson are going to come apart at the seams when they see
Run for the outhouse, as you would say.
If you're a muskie, you better.
That is awesome stuff. Jim, as always, my friend, thank you so much for all the time you spend with us and what you have done
Captain.
over the years. And we wish you well. Next week, we do have ladies' night. So it might be an opportunity for all four of us to enter into a discussion. So I'll leave you with that. And also, I will bid you farewell, but I'm sure we will talk in the coming days.
We had a good chat today, buddy.
We did.
Ladies and fishing.
Amen, brother. You take care of yourself. All the best.
Be good, Slim. Take care, folks. Be safe on the ice.
Amen. Amen.
Don't make me have to come dig one of you up and punch you in the face.
We got Lords coming up right after a word from our sponsor. All the best, Jimmy.
Be good.
What is Flash Boost? Shimano designed innovative Flash Boost technology. It keeps flashing, which attracts fish whether in a pause or while retrieving. The mirror plate, which is fixed by a spring inside the body, vibrates with the lure action to generate diffuse reflection. Even if you stop the lure action, the inner plate will move and continue to flash, giving the lure a sense of life and inviting a fish bite. This is Flash Boost.
Lawrence, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Just got in here. I just walked in like 2 minutes ago.
I literally heard the beep, and there you were. And you not a moment too late, not a moment too soon.
No.
It was perfect timing, my friend. I will say this, though. You've entered. Unfortunately, you didn't get prepped for what we're talking about tonight. So we want to hear the most embarrassing moment you've had out on the hard water. No, I'm kidding. We're doing a checklist. And this was made available and is available in Outdoor Canada. Our good buddy, Dr. Gord Pizer, put this together. And I would have to say that all of us have some kind of checklist, put away and set aside for when it's time to go ice fishing. What you can't see, I will explain to you. First and foremost, what we're going to be talking about, of course, is clothing. What's the most important thing that it's a must have when it comes to ice fishing? What must you have to wear for ice fishing?
I'll tell you, the new ice fishing bibs and pants now with the padded knees and the padded butt and the flotation and the the holsters for your ice picks, fantastic, right? It's just fantastic innovation, great pockets, flotation. You want to get down on your knees to set up your tip up or whatever. You're not going to freeze your kneecaps off and get arthritis. Just amazing gear. I'm just blown away by the quality of some of this ice fishing gear out there now.
And have you been using any of the battery technology, like the stuff that runs on batteries, like heated gloves, heated socks, heated pants, hoodies?
I got the heated socks and I've been playing with them and I'm looking at them and they've been in my box for 2 years now and I haven't pulled them out yet, but I think I'm going to pull them out. Last winter wasn't that cold. Last couple winters weren't that cold, so I just never got around to it. But I think this winter is going to be one where you're going to want to have some of the electricity coursing around your body.
I have to say, and I bought my first pair of what I would consider reliable, heavy-duty, battery-powered gloves. I typically would buy Old Milwaukee when it came to some of the battery-powered stuff. I saw one a little bit better, and I've tried it out already, and I have to say, not only does it keep your hands warm, but they sweat. So you have if you do, and it's made by Watsco. They're readily available online, and I believe Amazon has the best deal available for them right now. I managed to buy 2 pairs for under $250, which to me I thought was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
You never know what happens to them. They could get wet, they could get lost, they could fly away. So I figured I'd get 2 pair because I have a tendency of losing stuff. But yeah, I have to say, I've only worn them 2 or 3 times already. Best purchase I've had and made in a long time. When it comes to wool, are you a wool socks, a wool sweater kind of guy? Like, do you like your wool? Is there another fabric that you prefer to use?
No, wool all the way, way. I wool underneath and then wool on top, and then a sort of windbreaker flotation coat on top of that. And I heard Gord Pizer say this once. It's just brilliant, you know, when you're heading out, when you're walking out and you're drilling your holes and you're setting up all your equipment, take your coat off. You know, do all that sweaty work with just your wool. And the little bit of breeze just goes right through the wool, takes the moisture right off your out of your garments. So, you know, by the time you're done setting up, you know, and you've dried off a little bit, the moisture's left your body, it left your garments, then you put your coat back on and you're nice and dry and warm.
So true. So true. Now when it comes to bibs, you mentioned the ones with the knee pads. Are you more one that has a set that floats, or does it not matter?
I'm a big one for the floats. You know, I have a few different pairs, and I'll go by the weather, right, and what I'm doing. But generally, I think the flotation is not a bad way to go. You know, at the beginning and the end of the season, it's good to have that flotation safety element involved. Once you're into like a foot and 2 feet of ice, it's at that point, it's all about just staying warm.
100%. We talked about a towel. Jim mentioned how important a towel is. Also, Gord has down helmet. And I would have to say, based on some of the stories you've shared with your buddies who left you out on the ice by yourself, not only is a helmet, but probably, you know, one of those survival suits from Mustang or any of the other big names might be a great option, especially for you.
I'm not getting one of those survival suits no, with the sewn-in mittens, the 3 Gumby finger mittens.
Exactly. So with that being clothing, next and most important thing, especially when Jim and I were talking, is food. And of course, if you're someone like us that likes to do a little bit of cooking out on the ice, what are some of the things that you take along with you in order to prep food, eat food, and enjoy food?
I like to keep it real simple, but I think a thermos full of hot tea. I'm a big one for that. You know, I like to keep the hot tea just mainly first thing, you can put it into a cup and then you can wrap your hands around that and warm up your hands with that pretty quick. And it's got a little bit of caffeine and it just keeps you, you know, they say in the winter time, drink cold beverages. It'll make you warm. And in the summertime, drink hot beverages. It'll make you cool. And there's something for that for sure. But I think the tea, it just, you know, when you're feeling a little bit tired in the afternoon, you know, that midday hump, you can take a little bit of tea and you can, like I said, just, it's a good way to warm up your hands and pump some caffeine into your system and get you going again.
Totally agree. Jim liked his egg salad sandwiches. Is there just a preference that you have food wise that you bring along with you?
Yeah, I just take some regular, you know, a nice bread, some butter, a nice couple pieces of ham on that. Yeah. And just real simple, you know, just real simple.
No, it makes perfect sense. So that's pretty much the food. And we got over you pretty quickly. Jim and I took a little bit longer, and judging by the size of us, that explains probably why. Moving right along, of course, when it comes to the hut, and a lot of folks have different preferences when it comes to what they want in that hut, or even the type of hut that they want to drag around. Is a hut very important for you when you're out ice fishing?
My goodness, you know, it's like the boat, right? There's no such thing as one boat does everything. You got it just, you know, there's all these different hut options now, and okay. I've caved over the years. So I've got a single hut that I can pull out by myself with just the dog, and it's just a single seat flip over, you know, throw your gear in there, not too heavy, manual auger, not, you know, just easy peasy. And then I got just a sled with just a bucket, you know, if I'm just going out for that a walleye bite that happens for maybe 2 hours a day, and you're going out to the edge, like I'm on the Ottawa River. So you're going out into 3-4 inches of ice looking for that current break. So you get to that current break, and that's where the ice gets thin. So you got to keep it really light, right? If you want to fish that current break where the fish are going to come out of the depth and into the bay, you want to intercept them right there at that current break. 100%. And then, you know, then you're into the bigger flip over for to pull behind the snowmobile. So if you're going to do a lot of, you know, covering territory, 2-up machine, you got to have a 2-up sled, but those things are too heavy to pull around by hand. So, you need a machine to pull something like that around. And then the next size up from that is your camping, hub type systems, right? With the 5-7 hub kind of units that, 102 square feet of territory in there, the diesel heater, the cots, and, you can throw that. I've got one of those 8-foot sleds. I can throw that in there. I can throw some flooring in there, some seats, some cots, sleeping bags, the diesel heater, all the equipment, and just haul that out on the ice and set up for a couple of days. And I think what's interesting when you hear about all these campers is no one talks about, where do you go to the bathroom? You're out there for, 36 hours. People are going to the bathroom. People need to talk more about what they're doing about that. And there's some good systems out there, but you have to do some research. And you watch the YouTube videos, no one talks about any of that stuff, right? But it's happening. It's natural. It's normal. So I have a little privacy shelter. If we're going to have a group out there, I pop up the privacy outhouse shelter and pop in the bucket with the bags and the seat. And you just do it in the bucket. And at the end of the day, you just tie up the bag and it freezes in there and you throw it in the green bin.
It's so true. It's one thing that we have not discussed at great length or even at all in all of our ice fishing segments that we've done. I don't think we've ever discussed that. So yeah, 100%. We don't want to leave it out on the ice. And for those who are in the midst of eating dinner or haven't eaten dinner like me, it's a tough one to stomach. But yeah, you don't want to leave that nonsense out on the ice.
No.
We certainly want to keep things clean. But to your point, 5-gallon pail goes a long way.
Yeah, and you just get the little snap-on seat that fits on the top of it, and some good heavy-duty, medium-sized bags with the tie loops. You double those up, and it all freezes in there, and then you tie it up, and you pop it out, and you can throw that in the green bin, right? You're allowed to throw that in the green bin.
100%. Now, for heat, what are you typically using for heat? Are you using the Bubbas? What type of heater do you use?
All those Martins and big boys and medium boys, but all that propane stuff, it drives me nuts, because as soon as that propane container starts to run down and it starts to sputter a little bit, and then you got the CO2 and the unburnt gas, and your eyes are getting red and itchy, and you start to get a little bit of a headache, and all the moisture that builds up inside your shelter. I tell you, these new diesel heaters, they're all the rage, right? You have to have a battery. But mine, you can get 48 hours out of 2 or 3 gallons of diesel fuel and one 12-volt battery, and it's a nice dry heat. It takes the air in, heats it, and puts it back out. You can put these things on the outside of your tent, and they just do a wonderful job heating up.
Yeah, there's lots of them available. We'll probably talk a little bit about them during Jay's segment, but yeah, in terms of heaters, there's so many to choose from. All the way from Mr. Heater to whatever candles folks are selling these days. And it's amazing that, when it comes to heat, and especially how insulated some of these huts are, you don't need a lot of heat, or at least your source of heat doesn't have to be that incredible in order to warm the. No, you don't. You really don't.
Because you're going to end up with a lake inside your shelter. You got 2 inches. You're melting all the snow on top of the ice. You got 2 inches of water after 24 hours. Everything's floating. It's annoying. So you got to you have to have a way of moderating and managing your heat. And if you're going to sleep in there, you don't want to wake up with a CO2 issue. You don't want to wake up with the CO2 sputtering and you feel like crap and you got a headache. I tell you, these diesel heaters, they hit the market last year. They were really getting popular, and they got so popular by January, they went on Amazon. They went from $120 to $360.
Yeah.
And now if you go on Amazon now, they're back down to $120 again. So
there's deals. There were Black Friday deals that were available that they were literally giving these things away. And
is that right?
The technology behind them, especially you speak of Amazon, there were some incredible deals for some of these portable heaters. Something that was mentioned, and Steve Shaw mentioned it earlier, is the importance of carbon monoxide detector. Is that something that you would take with you regularly?
Well, some of the better propane heaters have that built into them already, but you can get a CO2 detector and a flame, smoke CO2. And if you're going to camp on the ice, you definitely want to bring something like that, because you're in there and yeah, you just don't want to take chances. And for $20, it's no big deal. Just throw it and stick it in one of your nets, and it's
100%.
there, and you got that bit of security.
So based on the list here, match is a good thing to have. Heater bags, yep, absolutely. Battery booster was something that Gord threw down on this list. Now, when it comes to your drill, what do you prefer? Gas powered, propane powered, electric, or do you like the old fashioned?
I have, 3 of those. I have manuals. I always bring a manual because the technology, it's always going to fail. So you always have a manual. It's always good to have a manual. And it's not that much to add to. If you're going out, and you're going to invest the time to go out and go all that distance, it's just it kills you if your auger doesn't start. The gas auger I don't take out anymore, and it's amazing. You don't hear gas augers that much on the ice anymore, do you? I mean, they're almost like you can't sell them. You can't give them away. Everyone's going electric, and once you go electric, oh my God, it's just like, I'm not talking just the bolt a blade onto the end of your power drill. Done that, and that's just that can be painful on the wrist when it jams and stuff like that. But these new actual electrical augers, they're just the battery, the performance, the weight. It's just amazing. They weigh nothing, and they're just fantastic.
I will say the Ion that I have, second generation, is the cat's meow. I would have a hard time finding a better drill. I know I've never owned one as that Ion. Spent a little bit of money on it when it first came out. It was worth every penny. And the number of holes that one battery, one charge will perform is off the charts. So they're fairly light, in comparison to a gas auger. They're very light, and as I said, they hold up well, depending on.
Drilling inside your tent. You're drilling inside your tent. You don't need to flip open the doors and then evacuate for half an hour for the fumes to clear out, right?
Yeah, and Gary's saying, I still don't trust the batteries on those things, and for the most part, Gary, I can appreciate that. It's technology, and we like to resort back to what we're comfortable with and what we know, and as Lawrence just mentioned, bring some old-fashioned ones just in case. Mark is saying, I love my 2-stroke gas auger in the morning. It smells like victory. I like that. That's well said, Mark. Truly appreciate that. Now, with all the essential, all your cooking, and you're all dressed for the day, obviously we now have to start thinking about gear. We now have to start thinking about tackle, presentations. First and foremost, when it comes to electronics, are you bringing anything that you have electronic-wise?
I've been using the same Lowrance GPS 5-inch unit for a while now, over 10 years, and everyone seems to like it. It's enough. It's that's all I bring, and I let my friends use it, and they get excited, and I get excited with them. And otherwise, I do 2 things. I set up a tip up, and like a dead stick with some live bait, and then I jig something, and the 2 holes are maybe 4 feet apart, but I jig it, and if I'm just attracting them over and they look at my jig and then they go over and take my minnow, hey, you know what, it's a bim bam, it's a no-brainer. I love that. I love that setup. I made a little I made a little base for my dead stick, and I don't know if you ever saw those carp bite alarms.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So I put it's got a little rod holder, and I rest the end of the rod on that little carp bite alarm system, and then I have one of those Sahara rear drag 1000 size spinning reels, and it's got the fighting drag, so you can slack the drag off real easy. And then when the fish takes my minnow and starts swimming away, that little carp beeper starts going beep, 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 but the fish doesn't even know. There's no resistance. And then I just go reach over, pick up the rod, tighten up that fight and drag, and set the hook. It's I love it. It's like a little tiny carp fishing system. It's just brilliant.
When it comes to dead sticking, are you someone that uses dead bait? Do you use live bait? And if so, if you are using live bait, do you tail hook or mouth hook your minnow?
For my dead stick, and I just go through just behind the dorsal fin, and just I do it on a little drop shot rig, the lightest weight possible, so that way when the fish comes and slurps up the minnow, it's not, it's not using the resistance of the lead to rip it off your hook. It just
Right.
sucks it in and whoop, it's gone, right? And then it's swimming away with it, and then it doesn't even know until you set the hook. But for walleye, they usually manage to get those little trocar. I use a little trocar number 4 hook. I go real small, and they're so sharp that they just stick into the mouth of the walleye. They don't get down the hatch at all.
That's awesome. That's good. So in regards to the rest of the list, we've talked about rods and reels. Are you using tip ups? Would you use a tip up? Is that something that you would use?
do. Yeah,
Okay.
I do it. And I use these little blue tips, BLUETIPZ. They're the size of a Bic cigarette lighter, and they just clip to the flagpole. And then you flip them on, and you download the app for your phone, and then they connect. When that flag flips, that it sends a Bluetooth signal to your phone, and you can have 3 or 4 of these things, and they'll number them. And then if it's at night, when the thing flips up, there's a blue light that starts flashing out of that little cigarette lighter thingy. Otherwise, it's on your phone and it says number 3, number 3, number 3, and you just go out there and go get it. It's so much fun. You could be sitting inside a big wooden ice shed with your friends, and in the middle of the night, all of a sudden your phone starts going off, and you look at your phone and go, "Oh, I got a fish." And everyone go, "What?" Yeah, and they look out the window, and they see your blue light flash, and it's so much fun.
Wow. I don't know if I've heard about these blue tips. Something I'm definitely going to look into. That's interesting.
It's a local. I don't know if it's a Canadian innovation, but they've been around now for a few years. I got the repeater box as well, and that works pretty well. It gives a little more range, but you don't need to. The little cigarette lighter thing itself is maybe $25. And I've never replaced the batteries on them. They're just absolutely brilliant.
Love it. And Jay would agree with you. He's going to find out a little bit more about it as well. So we're looking forward to, if anybody has a link, please go ahead and share it in the comments. So some of the other things, we've talked about rod and reels. We've talked about sonar. We've talked about minnows, tackle bags. Obviously, you're going to bring all your tackle, skimmers, to clean your hole. Rod holders is something that Gord mentioned. One thing that we didn't mention, and it's more in the essentials, of course, is a good spud bar. Obviously, that is a must for the whole time that we're trekking out there. Is there anything else that we haven't spoke of that you like bringing out on the hard water with you?
Well, I think your spikes, your ice spot, your spuds, you need to have that safety equipment. You need to keep it on your body. Any time of the year. It's simple safety gear. Fraybill built the holsters in so you could put the accordion string around the back of your neck, under your hood, and then you'd have them both right there just above your upper pockets, launched just in little holsters, and you could pull them out. They're super handy. And ice picks, and it just it just makes so much sense to have that technology handy, and no one should be on the ice without that.
100%. Are you? Have you got any hard water trips planned, Lawrence?
Looking at booking the Tom Cod on the St. Lawrence River and bringing the grandchildren out for that. That's so much fun. It's a festival. There's thousands of people out there, hundreds of outfitters. They set up. You book it. You get the hut for 8 hours. They book these things 24 hours a day, and everything's provided. All the equipment, everything you need. And it's just a big slot down the middle of the floor with benches on each side, and these little tip ups that all lined up in front of everybody. And it's just, kids love it. They watch the little tip rods are flipping up, and then they grab the line and set the hook and pull these little Tom Cod out. It's just so much fun.
That's awesome stuff. Thanks, Steve. He's right on it. He's got the blue tips link here with a review. So anybody that's looking to use something that Lawrence loves and could not be without, by all means, head over to that link. And outside of that, I think that's just about everything we've covered. Is there anything that we've forgotten when it comes to hard water and Lawrence Gunther?
Mike, at the cost of ice fishing, it can just go through the roof. And I was out with a friend last year, and these three young guys, maybe they weren't barely over 20. They had nothing. They had a manual auger, some ice fishing rods, and a bit of tackle, and they had forward-facing sonar. Right? That's where they put their money, into the forward-facing sonar. Yeah. But that's all they own. No shelters, no heaters, no electric augers. And you think about it, man. People invest in this so much into ice fishing. I don't know. I think you can do as little and as much as you want. And I sometimes I'm so proud. When I just go up with a bucket and a sled and a buddy, and that's it. And we go up and catch some beautiful walleye in the afternoon. I think, simple, easy, and an amazing afternoon on the water. It can be that simple. You don't need to overcomplicate things. Just use the knowledge and go where you know what works, and rinse and repeat. If you're going to go under new bodies of water and investigate, you might need a little bit more. And if you're going to invest that kind of time and effort to go somewhere far, far away, maybe it's worth investing a little bit more in the equipment, or just get a good outfitter and have them show you where to go. It's just, the options are limitless, but it's everything from very little money to all the money in the world. It's, did you see that vehicle they made, that 4-wheel drive vehicle that 4 people could sit on, and it's got the holes in the floor? You don't even get out of the vehicle. You just sit there in these bass chairs on this machine, and you just stop, you drill the holes, and you fish right while you're sitting on top of this machine. They cost $100,000.
Yeah. I need 3 of them. No, we see the gentleman every year at the shows. Yeah. And we always ask, how you make it out. And it is a tough sell because it is a big ticket item, but certainly handy. And
he's selling them. He's my brother's neighbor in Kitchener, or in Waterloo. Right? In Waterloo, yeah. He's my brother's neighbor. They live 2 houses apart. No way. This guy's selling these machines, man. He's selling them.
That's so awesome. I'm glad to hear that, because as I said, he's a fantastic, energetic as all get out. Yeah, I tell you, he runs on high stock batteries, because the boy is just 100 miles an hour in all directions. But it's a safety first machine. First and foremost, it's designed for safety. Yeah. But with that being said, it's got everything that you could possibly want when it comes to comfort. It's completely sealable, so if you do have a heater or what have you, you can all stay warm inside. But if the ice shifts, if you get into a pressure crack or you break through, it has the ability to crawl back out on the ice, keep you nice and dry. And as I said, it's all about safety. And for those who have that kind of disposable income, it is definitely something you might want to consider.
Yeah, I agree. And if you're taking, high-end clients out on the ice as an outfitter, and you can charge good money, you offer that sort of premium service. Heck, I remember when Yannick here in Ottawa started building those 22-foot long wooden ice shacks that could sleep six to 8 people, and he's renting them out for $500 a night. And I said, "Who's paying that?" And he goes, "They're all rented every weekend for the rest of the winter." People love them. They just come with their friends, and they split it up, and they just have a great time out here. And he was right. I mean, he's got out of it now. The winters were getting shorter and shorter, and it was just too frustrating for him to haul these big things out there and then haul them back in and haul them back out again. And as the ice freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, and so he's sold everything off now. He's not doing the ice fishing outfitting anymore. But I think, further north, it's there's still options for that. If there's still opportunities for all that kind of fun, for sure.
100%. What's upcoming in Bluefish Canada, Bluefish Radio? Anything you're working on that you wanted to share with us before we let you go?
Yeah, we got the newsletter coming out in the next couple days. I got another podcast interview tomorrow. I've got my friend Lee Wilbanks from River Talks. It's a nonprofit organization in the States. And these guys are promoting the idea of giving river rights, like they did in Quebec with the Magpie River, and like they're talking about with Rice Lake in Ontario. I wanted to hear from Lee and hear from him why we need this, why do we need this, and why now. And so stay tuned for that. Also, just talk to Sean Simmons from Angler Atlas and My Catch. So that podcast will be out shortly. And we talk about all the research he's collecting and all the other community science data that's been collected by all of these researchers and nonprofit organizations, and they got all this data stored on their websites and databases, and how artificial intelligence might be able to at some point be able to tap into all that amazing knowledge to the point where we can just say, hey, what's the fishing like on this lake, and who should I contact, and what should I bring? And AI will go out and it knows exactly all the databases of all the anglers and all the researchers that have anything to do about that lake, and it'll pull it all together for you and give you a real good, solid, deep dive. Look, I'm a blind person. AI is something super important to blind people because we all want to be able to use it to see. We all want to be able to wear those glasses with the little cameras in them and say, hey, what's in front of me? And, I don't know a single blind person that hasn't bought those glasses now. I bought a pair, and oh my God, they hallucinate like crap, man. They make shit up all the time. I don't trust myself. No blind person trusts those glasses to get around safely. That's for sure. They're just full of crap. But AI, that's the world, right? You're asking the AI to look around in the world and tell you what's out there. It doesn't know everything, but if you feed it the right kind of information and you train it, and this is where AI is going to really shine. And you're seeing more and more of this now, where AI is being, this is an AI engine that just does this, and it knows everything about this. And we're going to get these AI engines that are going to know everything about our regions, our water, our fish. And it's going to be amazing, man. It's going to be just amazing. That's around the corner.
Look forward to that interview as well as many others that you're working on, Lawrence. As always, my friend, thanks for joining us each and every Monday like you do. And of course, keep up the great work, my friend. We truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Scotty. You too, buddy.
Right on, dude. We have Jay Barnucz coming up right after a word from his sponsor. Have a great week, Lawrence.
Want to know the difference between power bait and other soft plastics? Ask the fish. Berkeley scientists have thousands of flavors tested on thousands of fish. Natural, man-made. Every bait that's ever hit the water. No matter the shape, size, or color, power bait is the only one that is scientifically proven. Fish bite and will not let go.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Jay.
What's up, buddy?
Baby, big Jay Barnucz. Jay, let's get into the checklist. And we want to thank the good folks over at Outdoor Canada, and of course our good buddy Gord Pizer for putting this checklist together. Let's start with say the clothing. Let's go right into the clothing. I know there's a lot of new things that you like to wear. You like some of the technological advancements when it comes to comfort, feasibility, what makes sense, whether it wicks water or moisture, if it floats. What are some of the things that you like to bring along? And I know you like to pack light when it comes to certain things, but you don't skimp on something that you need. But when it comes to clothing and what you're going to wear, guide us through that list of some of the stuff that you would bring along.
Okay, so I fish outside a lot, as much as when we'll talk about shelters and stuff, but I fish outside a lot, kind of whether we're running around chasing panfish, it's one of my favorite things, or last couple of years, we've been doing more and more pike fishing with tip ups. And so when you're out running around checking tip ups, you're spread out. You need to be warm to be doing that. So what I'm usually doing is I got two pairs of gloves that I bring. First set of gloves that I bring are these are ice armor, like neoprene gloves. Okay. Now these are waterproof, but they're not super thick. But what these are great for, man, is if once you set up your camp and you're working around, like we're usually using a big pop-up style shelter, these are great because you have incredible dexterity. So when you get these on, you actually because but versus old neoprene gloves, they're pretty soft and they're pretty supple. So these are nice for like, basically, I can't like tie knots with them, but I can get it down to, I can manipulate things. I can pull rods out of cases and things like that. So these are great. These Striker ice gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And my go-to glove, now Jim already had the Ice Armor mittens, and I have pairs of those mittens here that are ancient, like probably 15 years old. I still use them. I do like the dexterity of the gloves. So these are Ice Armor, they're Striker ice gloves. And the only difference is that these are great for like working the drill and like grabbing stuff, and I have more dexterity, but I still bring the mittens with me. And because you can't beat a good mitten. Gloves are nice, but if you can't keep your hands, your fingertips warm, you're going to be in trouble. Because once you lose, I don't know about you, man, but once my hands get cold, I have to stop and get them warm back up again. It's not a short process. But one thing I will say about that is, and this is a big mistake, I got all my ice fishing crap out. Trevor pulled all the ice fishing stuff out yesterday. Like he went to town, and I'm literally, our fishing room is gone. It's gone through the seasonal transition yet again. The steelhead stuff went away. The ice fishing stuff came out. And so I'm buried in ice fishing stuff, which is great because we got to go through it all. But I don't care what brand you buy, but your hot packs.
Yeah.
One thing I learned about hot packs a few years ago is you know how I'll get them as stocking stuffers. Heather's great. She'll put them in the stocking, load them up, but I was hardly ever using them. And then when I go to use them, they don't work right away. You got to shake them up. You got to take them and shake them. What I've done is the last few years, and maybe it's because I'm getting older and maybe because my circulation isn't the same as it used to be. What I do now is I put them, I don't keep them in a Ziploc bag in my crate anymore. I keep them on me. And as soon as I get to the access point, especially early in the morning, I bust open two of them and I get them shaken. I'm in the vehicle. I'm still sipping that last sip of coffee. I get them shaken then, and then I put them in my gloves or my mittens. I put them in right now because guess what? They will get used.
Yep.
I will use them that day if I need them. If my hands get cold, I'm ready to rock. And no one's going to say no to warm gloves. At some point in that day, I will be doing stuff like drilling holes or clearing holes or whatever, and I will now have a warm set of gloves to put my hands in. And those things, how many times have you gotten them and never used them? In fact, they even expire. And I've actually tossed them out because they've expired. So I've gotten the habit of having them ready. And it's not just for me. I have a set ready to go. And let's say your buddy gets cold hands. I can just pass them off. Here you go. Put these in your gloves. And honestly, when I was out collecting samples 2 weeks ago, finishing up our work, I did the same thing in the morning, 6 a.m. Because I knew I'd be collecting water samples. Dude, I'm in the water, physically collecting water. Even though we had a waterproof, we're using the big electrofishing gloves. You know what I'm talking about, Scotty?
Yeah.
But those things have no insulation, right? Yeah. Your hands are. So I was using them that day. So the little hot packs, I know that's pretty old school, not as fancy as these, but they will get you through. The other thing I do is I wear my layers. I got, and I know you're going to laugh, but I had to get a whole new wardrobe for some reason.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. So I had to update the wardrobe. And so merino wool. So there's actually, now there's some great companies out there. Columbia makes good stuff. But Mountain Warehouse is a brand, and they make honestly really affordable stuff. And their stuff's on sale right now through till Christmas and check Boxing Day. And you'll see stuff. So these are their merino, and I had a previous pair of these, so I'm too big, I'm too small for them now. So I just bought another set of merino wool tops and bottoms. And then their pants, they make like a quick dry pants with a fleece. It's a fleece lined pants.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put the merino wool base layer inside those fleece lined pants, then I put my bibs on and my striker suit over top of that, I have not been cold in years with that setup. So it's 3 layers: base layer, fleece lined pants, and then the Gore-Tex suit. And even if I'm not wearing the Gore-Tex suit, I'll wear the floater suit. Like, it depends on the situation. A lot of times if we're going to Quinny and I'm not sure about the ice, I'll wear the floater suit. My striker suit is great. It's got flotation in it, but when it comes to safety, man, you can't beat a good floater suit, right?
So you think about that, Jay. Like, I mean, what you just described is the equivalent for us back in the day, wearing our long underwear, probably a pair of pants, depending on what we chose. We'd probably put on a pair, maybe some bibs. Maybe it'd be, something we would use at work. So it'd be like a one piece where you'd zip up. I just think about, with all the sweat, all the perspiration, water, just because it's ice fishing, that used to get heavy carrying all that around. What you just described is probably about a third the weight from what we typically would have used back in the day.
Yeah, like Heather's in the next room, and we used to wear like Carhartt pants.
Yeah.
Like a tough duck, the tough duck suit. Like, I remember going steelheading with my Carhartt suit on like minus 20 weather, like at the Ganny. This is back in the mid 90s. And like standing there in my Carhartt suit, and I had the full work suit, like it zipped right up, and the hood was tiny on it. Like you had to wedge it onto your, you know what I mean? Like you could barely wear it. Literally, I looked like this. Like it was like you wedged yourself in there, and then it didn't breathe at all. And so as you're breathing, like you had icicles just forming all over your face, right? Because the condensation. And I wore that suit for years and years. And then now with, and then we get to flotation suits, and now we get into these Gore-Tex suits with float. Now, I want everyone to know that these Gore-Tex suits are great because they're breathable. And so when you overheat in them, you can overheat in them still if you overexert yourself, but because the moisture can go, you don't get that moisture in the suit for long. And in fact, if you have I love the pop-ups too, because you have you can spread out inside, right? So I can take my jacket off. I actually bring little, like, they're just little hangers, like little like S hangers that you buy for your shower stall, at camp. So we can take our jackets off and hang them from the top of the shanty, so that you can just let the moisture just kind of evaporate a bit. So when you got your trek back in at the end of the day, you have almost a dry jacket. The bibs rarely come off, but the jacket, I'll take my jacket on and off all day in our pop-up. In our pop-up, it's a 450 XD from Eskimo. We've had it for a few years now. It's the first one that came out with the full-size door, right? Where you didn't have to climb in, like you could actually walk in. And that's why we bought it, and it's still holding up. It's a great product. Shout out to Eskimo. No affiliation, but they make a great product. And I can fit easily 2 of us in there with our Smitty sled. So the door's big enough. I can pull the whole sled in. I don't have to unpack anything, which is great. So you pull the whole sled in, you can sit down. But if I have 3 guys, I can fit 3 guys in there comfortably. No sled. Sled stays out. Yeah. And if I have to, I can do 4 guys in there, but you're back to back to back to back. Does that make sense, Scotty?
Yep,
like you're
100%.
tight. I could have, if I would have gone bigger though, it would have been like a monstrosity. Now, if I would have gone bigger, now we're an ice camping setup. We haven't quite got there yet. And that's probably something that we'll do, but we don't use machines where we live. It's the ice down here is so inconsistent that we don't use machines a lot. Like I know some guys that do, and kudos to them. But most years, for me to invest in any kind of machine doesn't make a lot of sense because I would not get a lot of use out of it most winters.
Right.
So we're on foot. So we pack light best we can. So these breathable suits, and breathable clothing, and again, for the clothing too, because most weekends have 2 days in it. Don't buy one pair of don't buy one base layer, buy 2 pairs of base layers, buy 2 pairs of pants, buy 2 hoodies with the fleece liner. And again, like Steve mentioned, how cheap they are for Mountain Warehouse. They're great. And I'll tell you, it's just then you're good for the whole weekend, man. Because if not, you put on that stuff you wore on the day before, it's not going to keep you as warm. So I tend to have 2 of everything when it comes to clothing, because I just want to be ready. So
and do you agree with Jay? Like typically your base layer is a little bit tighter as you get out to, closer to the atmosphere, stuff's getting a lot looser, so it can trap some of that heat in.
Yeah. So what I find is, I have Under Armour base layers that are really tight.
Yep.
And I actually like the merino wool ones because they actually fit loose, they fit like a sock. The Under Armour ones are like compression suits, right? And well, one, trying to get in a pair of those things at 3 a.m. sucks. Like, let's be honest.
Yep.
And also too, I'm driving to the lake. Like, I'm not going to get dressed when I get there. Like, other than putting my suit on, I kind of want to dress not super heavy till I get there. So I find these merino wool ones, they just honestly match up the best, man. Like, they're not super tight, but but they're light and they're warm. And same for socks. So for my socks, I'm using, and actually I still wear some of them. Redhead from Bass Pro.
Yeah.
Used to make, like, they were like $20 a pair, and they're merino wool. They were like almost knee high, but not quite, I guess, up to my calf. And dude, you buy the thin layer socks, like the polypropylene liners, and then you put those merino wool socks over. And I saw somebody post the link in here to the Baffin Titans. Mark Wolf posted it. So, and there's, think about winter boots. Winter boots are like pickup trucks. Everyone has their favorite brand.
Yeah.
I have the Baffin Titans. They are a heavier boot, I will admit. But their liners are so thick, and it'll say -100. I don't care what it says. Doesn't matter. What I love about their boots is, 1, they hold up. 2, they're so thick on the bottom. The thing about the boot liners that's important is you want that insulation from the ice. And so when you read -40, -70, -100, whatever the rating is, it's going to have to do with the thickness of the liner on the bottom of the boot. The thicker the liner on the bottom, the further you are away from the surface of the ice, the warmer your feet will be. And again, let's go back to those hand warmers. There's feet warmers too. And in fact, I like to use the feet warmers for all things warming, because the feet warmers are a larger package, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have a little Velcro on them that'll stick like to your socks. So I usually put them like, actually not under my foot, but on top, over my, like the top of my foot where the circulation is, help the blood flow. And the same with my hand. I'll put them right on top of my hand and like seal them in my glove so they stay right put, and then they're not sliding around inside. But if you have a Baffin Titan with the merino socks and a heat pack inside those, I don't know where you'd be fishing where you'd be get cold. I don't know. Yeah.
Nope.
So,
good point. George has a bit of a different chart for the folks up north. 0 to -7 means a t-shirt. -8 to -20, add a hooded sweater, and below -20, stay in the truck and use the intermittent wipers to jig. Good tip. I like that, George.
The last time I stayed in a truck, last time I fished out of a truck, I think I might have been 10 years old on Lake Erie. On Lake Erie, I fished out of a truck. That's true story.
Think about that.
Yeah. On the tailgate of Grandpa George's truck, I fished. He had a green F-150, that old like mint green colored F-150, and I sat on the tailgate. We actually used this rod. This is Grandpa George's. This is like the Green Hornet from
Green Hornet. I was just gonna say that's the Green Hornet.
This rod, like, dude, This is a pool cue of a perch rod. I don't know how many perch were. Actually, I should say, dude, there's still emerald shiner scales on that cork that I haven't washed
That
off.
is hilarious.
Yeah, so that's Grandpa George's original ice fishing rod right there.
That's
So,
awesome. So I
yeah.
think we've covered everything when it comes to clothing. Obviously, hand
Yeah.
warmers we talked about, balaclavas, neck warmers, hats, proper kind of boots, bibs, that kind of stuff.
You guys talked about towels. I know I heard
Yes.
yeah. Towels are clutch. You buy some cheap hand towels, and if they get wet, grab another one on Amazon. Grab a pack of them. They're great, especially if you're fishing with live bait. Like if you're running tip ups and you're getting your hands wet, man, a towel is just a cheap one. One of the best things out there. Yeah,
100%. Now we're going to get into the cooking. Obviously, if you are doing overnighters or you're going to be out there for a long period of time, food is something that we all need and we all enjoy when we're out in the hard water. Is there anything that you prefer yourself, Jay?
So I got into this thing a couple years ago with my new diet regimen, and honestly, this is I can feed some serious guys doing this, and it's great because it's like lunch to go or breakfast to go, doesn't matter. So what it is, and we'll do this soon here, is I make breakfast burritos, and I will make about 30 or 40 of them, and we freeze them here, and then we'll grab like 2 each for the day. So each one, and this is me, I'm gonna nerd right out for you, man. I'm counting my macros on this. Like I'm doing it. I'm dialing. This is about 500 calories. And it's basically a breakfast burrito. So I buy the biggest tortillas you can get. They're like 200 calories, and then I'm jamming this thing with eggs and bacon and cheese, and we roll it up, we wrap it in tin foil, and I freeze it in the freezer. Now I will take them out the night before, and I'll stick 4 or 5 of them in the fridge so they'll thaw a little bit. And then all we do is just throw them on the buddy heater, man. Like we're not too elaborate. Like I love a good cookout on the ice, but for us, that is what we do. And then in the morning, we do a big for the trip to the lake. I do a big smoothie, like high calorie, dude. Like we're going. It's got powdered protein, but we got peanut butter, we got milk in there, we got it's like 600, 700 calories. Like, and I know for all folks listening, they're like, why is this guy counting calories? I'm telling you, I've been counting my calories for 2 years and it's paid off. But I don't want to go back to just eating Snickers and that when I'm out on the ice. And I'll be honest, man, eating well, if you can, when you're out doing that kind of stuff, it's so important. And you have so much energy because we're on foot, dude. We're hauling ass, dragging this equipment around. Yeah. I got to keep up with these young guys who I know that Trevor could eat a bag of Doritos and outwork me some days. Like that's just going to happen. The kid's an animal. But a big smoothie in the morning and a couple of breakfast burritos to keep you. And again, breakfast burrito, that's the name of it. I'm eating them at 7 a.m., at 10 a.m., at 2 p.m. Doesn't matter. Those burritos are just clutch. And that gets you through the day. But we've also done a really cheap and easy thing to do for a lot of folks. And especially if you have kids, because all kids love this. And in fact, Stephanie still requests this: pizza pockets. Yep. Go get yourself some pizza pockets, rip them out of their plastic liners, pre-wrap them in tin foil, and throw them on a warm stove, like a buddy heater. And pizza pockets are clutch. Having a warm meal on the ice is next level. Like I will eat some beef jerky and I will do those things, Scotty, but a warm pizza pocket, or I don't know, something about, maybe it's the warm cheese. I just love a good cheesy something on the ice when I'm out there fishing. So
now I got to do a little bit more ice fishing, I think, with Richard. He likes
holy crap, Richard, yeah.
Holy smokes, that's extravagant.
To quote, I don't mind mushrooms, but to quote my good buddy Scott from university, if I wanted mushrooms, I'd lick my shower. That's what he'd always tell me. So, and if you knew my buddy Scott's shower, you'd know his shower curtain had a good mushroom supply on it. It was gross, but anyways, yeah, that's good.
Nice. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So some things that I've come across, and of course, this is probably more for survival or in an emergency situation, but the more I've seen these kind of products evolve. the more interesting they become. And of course, it's not typically just one, but these hot trails, hot meats are hot meals, and all you have to do is add hot water. Now, it may not sound that great, but if you go to some of these websites, and I'm not saying this one in particular is the one you want, but there's a whole array of different types of recipes, what they have to offer, whether you like scrambled eggs, whether you like spaghetti, this, that, and everything else. But these are really interesting and good in terms of calories. Don't have a whole lot of chemicals or byproducts. This one boasts that nothing artificial is involved in any of these, which I'm a little surprised at. If all you have to do is add water, I would think it has something, but these are really interesting. And of course, it makes sense when you're out on the ice and you don't need to bring a whole lot of stuff. If you can just add water to it and get yourself a half decent warm meal.
I agree. I can think of some of the ones we've done as a treat. Like I remember doing one that was like a blueberry cobbler.
Yep.
So now the thing about all this is that if you're going to bring those things, you got to bring a little bit extra. So I'll bring my little camp stove, right? Little single burner camp stove. And I'm going to bring my whole mess kit, which is like 3 or 4 little pots. Like it's actually pretty compact. And that's what I'm going to do. And especially if I'm out there and especially if we're doing a full day with a bunch of guys, I might do something like that where, those walleye days, man, like on Quinny, when, it's that morning bite's done. And then it's bluebird skies all day. And, you're going to get fish coming through and you might get a fish here and there, but basically you're just hanging out till 3 o'clock. Let's be honest. So from 10 till 2, it's social time. And that's when that kind of food's going to come out. And it's a lot of fun, to be honest. And if everyone pitches in, it makes life easy. The thing about that kind of stuff though, is it's not the food. It's more now I got to clean this crap up. And I don't like cleaning up. I'll do dishes at home. I don't mind helping out at home, but I don't like doing dishes on the ice and having to worry about it. So it's one more thing I got to do when I get home. But dude, they're yummy, and I recommend people try them. I've done it for years camping, and I won't live on those for the weekend, but they are good. Yeah, pepperettes, absolutely. Like,
pepperettes. Yeah, they're like dynamite for some of us old guys that have a little bit of the irritable bowel syndrome. There's been a few stories that I'd rather not talk about that those pepperettes engaged chaos, and it didn't take long for that to happen. Speaking of dishes,
some good kielbasa. Usually kielbasa is pretty neutral.
Amen.
Yeah.
One thing that I do like too that I came across, and of course there's all kinds of variations, but when you can get cooking stuff like this all put together in a pouch where it's easy to bring along, you've got every pot, pan, plate, whatever the heck it is. Of course, you've got cups here with that, and there's lots of variations of this. And there's not one brand that's better than the other. There's so many different variations. But to your point, Jay, this is everything that I could think of that I could possibly want. If I'm doing soup, if I'm doing chili, pork and beans, anything like that, something this simple that's put together in a small little pack like that goes a long way. And then, as he said, you can put this all in the bag, bring it home, and do the dishes later. And
that's kind of what I was talking about. Everything's nice and self-contained, and it's even a can of stew with as long as you buy the right can, you don't need a can opener to open it. And if you don't remember how to use a can opener, it's funny. I've ran into some guys the last 2 years who they didn't know how to use like a Swiss Army knife can opener, or didn't have a can opener at all. So I had to pull out, dig for my old Swiss Army knife in the bottom of my bin and be like, I'll open that for you. Because I remember, dude, in college, I didn't have a can opener. I had my Swiss Army knife my first year at college, and I was cracking open my chunky soup with my can opener, right? So, yeah.
Sometimes we had to improvise in order to get fed.
Yeah,
yeah. So I think we've covered clothing. We've now just covered cooking. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention in regards to food that you would bring out on the ice?
No, we covered it.
Let's get to the essentials. And of course, a safety bag is extremely important, making sure that you have a first aid kit, As Steve mentioned, a carbon monoxide detector, that kind of stuff. If we're planning to sleep out on the ice, and I forget who it was that mentioned it. Is there too long to be out on the ice if you're sleeping over? Like, should we limit it to a day or two, or is there too
No,
long?
I don't think so. I think as long as this whole ice camping thing is really new, right? So staying out there is new. And so I think I was even watching a video with Jay Stevens about, on Lake Winnipeg, they've just allowed overnight accommodations. They just allowed it on Lake Winnipeg. I had no idea that was a thing, that it wasn't allowed there. So
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's very new on Lake Winnipeg. Now, Lake Winnipeg is a pretty wild place. Like, remember, it's basically a river, right? Like it's not like Nipissing. Well, Nipissing is also flowing through, but from what I've seen on Lake Winnipeg, the ice it's not, I don't want to say unstable, but it's a lot more dynamic on Lake Winnipeg from what I've read than on Nipissing. So maybe being overnight was a risk, but as long as we manage it and guys aren't being slobs out there, I don't think it's a big deal. But George touched on it here. Like, you talked about cooking stuff, but like, this is how much stuff are you going to bring? Like, as much as ice camping is fun, now we're at a whole new level of crap. Like, I don't even know. I bring so much stuff ice fishing enough stuff as it is. I couldn't imagine having to bring out like a cot and a sleeping bag and like, oh my God, like I would have to bring a second vehicle, I think, if we brought all this stuff.
Exactly.
Like, holy, I'd have to probably buy a small enclosed trailer to do it right. Like, let's be honest. Like,
yeah. So going down that path, and I think that's really what was important, because of course, listening to Jim talk about how it was and what they would bring, you're 100% right. Technology has advanced so many of the things that we need that are essential, but have like dramatically changed the size and the amount of space that they take. One thing in particular, you talk about a sleeping bag. If you're going to be doing any kind of overnight camping, I think this is more for emergency purposes, but something that's the size of a pop can can provide you the kind of thermal insulation that you require. And I'm stunned at how cheap they are available right now. But you can pick one of these things up for $20 here in Canada. But it's basically a sleeping bag that all crumples down into a small little bag, and it reflects the heat in. And surprisingly enough, can keep you very, very warm in some of the most drastic situations. But that is definitely something that would dramatically change the size and space that it would take up. Another thing too, on that list that Gord has used or provided for us, he talks about a battery booster. Now, some of these inverters, battery packs, I think in the beginning were very large and a little bit cumbersome. But you get into some of this stuff that's available
for a solar
now,
power bank. This
really
is the one that I would get.
Noise, but it runs on solar. So you have these panels. It has everything that you could possibly want it to power and recharge anything that you have with you. It runs, as I said, it recharges off the sun. It's a handy thing. I actually bought a couple of these simply because they were doing a Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
And got them, relatively cheap compared to what they typically cost. Yeah. And as I said, the fact that I'm going to be able to use them out in the sun, whether it be hard water, soft water, you'll have the ability to charge. And it's something that, with a phone, we can't almost live without. Yeah. This will get you out of a jam or three in a big way. So,
yeah. I think what's important about that is we rely on our phones too much.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we've seen, phones don't float, or you can buy attachments for them. And you should have tethers for your phone. And I have a phone tether that I use kayak fishing, and I bring it with me ice fishing. It's just smart advice. And because it does happen. GPS units, like having a handheld GPS unit, and now understand, know when went on the lake and know where you came off the lake. And so, but having all this stuff charged, so now we rely so much on electronics that having a means to charge these things up is pretty important. Like even if your phone gets really cold and it shuts off, you have to warm it up. If you can't warm it up, you at least, or even if you can warm it up, sometimes it wants to be charged, right? So having a way to warm it up, you can put it on your body, but you need a power pack just to charge it. Like even just these little, like everyone should have these. If they don't, they're just a little like little USB charging bank, right? So, and I always have them. I make sure that, and a lot of times I won't even pull it out. I have my Lake Simcoe power box, which I don't even have it down here because it's in the garage. Like we use them all the time. Lake Simcoe power box or outdoor power box, like we use it to run our lights in the hut. We have all the LED lights. We actually use it to run. One thing that we love about ice fishing is we'll set up a dedicated camera in the shelter on a tripod with a cable running to the power box. So we don't worry about like changing batteries or whatever. It runs dedicated to us fishing, right? That's a lot of fun. And what's cool about that too is we can fish wherever we want. You don't know where we are because we're inside the hut. We could be fishing right next to you, man. You don't even know. Like you don't have to worry about backgrounds in a hut. Huts are kind of a way to be sneaky about filming some good fishing videos too. So, but having power is important.
Amen. So in terms of the essentials, obviously drill, what are you using these days? Are you using
I'm still using the K drill. I got the K drill. I'm using a Milwaukee brushless drill with the 18-volt battery, the big one. It's a 9 amp hour, like great big one, and I have 2 of them. I bring 2. The one I use for the drill, and actually I bring a second smaller drill for putting in the bits into the ice.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then that battery, because I use that second battery so sparingly that if I run out of juice on the big battery, then I have that other battery, because that little battery just putting the bits in. I did that because I found it a pain to have to undo my K drill and then put the drill bits in. And it's just easier to bring it to it. I know if I'm packing light, I'll bring 1, but I like to bring 2 drills just so I can, and then I keep them both warm and I have a spare battery. I don't need to bring more than those 2 batteries. I used to bring more batteries. I just bring those 2 big ones now, and it's plenty. My K drill on the 6, if I use the 6.5 inch drill, so I have a 6.5 and an 8.5. On the 6.5, I've done over 100 holes at 8 to 10 inches of ice, and that's before it died. And it hadn't died yet. It was getting low, but it hadn't died yet. So I know, and rarely do I drill that many holes, but I'll drill 40, 50 holes in a day. And with an 8.5 inch auger, it's fine. And the 8.5 inch auger, it's, if you got if you're pushing a 10-pound plus walleye, it'll fit. But you gotta be patient with it, okay?
Yeah.
But that's, even a big pike is less rotund than a walleye. Walleyes just kind of do like this. So I'll fit almost anything else through an 8.5 inch hole that I'm fishing for. So pike, perch, and any panfish will get through that. In fact, with the 8.5 inch hole, I only have to drill 1 hole, and I can usually run my electronics and fish out of that hole. If I'm running the 6.5 inch, I'll run multiple holes in a line, and I'll have a dedicated hole for my electronics.
Well, it makes sense. So when it comes to the list of essentials, obviously a Smitty sled, you love dragging those around. Having a cover for it would certainly help. Is there anything else on the essentials that we've missed that you would recommend bringing?
No, I'm going to bring a Smitty sled for sure, but I'm going to try and post it or find the name of it. What is the name of that? So, I'm not going to post it, but I'm going to mention it. So it's called easysled.ca, easysled.ca. And they're actually a company. So I've built Smitty sleds over time, and they're fun to build. Honestly, it's a ton of fun to build. And You can customize it any way you want it. But easysled.ca, they're out of Norland. You know where Norland is?
Yep.
On 35, north of Lindsay, but south of
Yep.
Minden.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually make a kit and they prefab it all. So it comes with your kit. Now it's $128. But what the kit is, it comes with 4 posts. So 4 of the aluminum, and these are all pre-made aluminum, 4 posts, welded aluminum. And it comes with 2 bars, so you can connect the 4 posts. So you have to buy your skis at a yard sale, $20, two pairs or pair of skis. And then it comes with the kit comes with the 4 mounting posts, the 2 bars, and it also comes with all the hardware, so all the nuts and bolts. And it comes with instructions. So you know, a couple workhorses in the garage, you have to drill your holes, countersink them, you know the whole drill to all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
For $128, you have a welded aluminum frame that holds 2 skis together. And then you could add to that frame. And so that's what I did is I have 2 easy sled setups. I used to have 2 older Smitty sleds, and dude, I had them for about 7 years and they got the crap kicked out of them. They were great. But now I got the easy sled. I bought 2 kits last year. And for $128, especially with the price of wood now to go, and wood's heavier. Now we have 2 ultralight Smitty sleds, and one is our main one. And then if I'm bringing a bunch of extra guys and we need to bring a second sled with, maybe I have a second shelter, I have extra chairs. So I just bring the second sled and we just pull it. Or Trevor and I'll bring both sleds and divide the weight, and we can go even further and faster. Does that make sense? So
100%.
we love it. It's called easysled.ca, and they come with their kit comes with everything you need. And it basically it's a base model Smitty sled, but you can add to it. Like I know guys that have it's aluminum. You could drill through it. You can mount a deck to it. You can mount a sled to it if you want, or just use bungee cords. It's great. And what's nice about their Smitty sled setup, Scotty, is it's collapsible, because the 4 posts that come with the 2 bars just pop in and you can pop them out. So if you have a small vehicle and you just want to slide the skis in, like the passenger door, like a long rod, and your Smitty sled can go right in your car. You don't need to have a truck or a van to put your Smitty sled in. It is
Right.
quick. Yeah.
Great question, Jay. And it's something that I often think about every time I see one of these sleds. Everybody is so quick to use cross-country skis, which aren't as wide. And again, you know, if you understand the whole purpose of a sled, you want a wider ski to displace the weight, but also it's a lot easier to control in the snow. And I don't know, it's probably a little bit easier to control on ice when there is no snow, having those wider skis as well. But is it something that you prefer?
So one of my first sleds was with the cross-country skis, and they didn't hold up as well as downhill skis. The downhill skis are just they're wider and they're more durable. And now, no one's going to accuse me of being smart, so because I've done some dumb stuff in my time. Like I've had guys. I don't know. This is probably isn't even legal because you're supposed to use a proper bracket. But anyways, I've had guys pull my old Smitty sleds behind their quads right on Simcoe, like just hop and go. And my Smitty sled, now a couple things. One, put your ropes through your skis, so your pull angle is lower and you can get better pull. And Mike, your mention about slush, that's important. You want to be able to pull your sled from a low angle. If you're too high, it will dig into snow and dig into slush. So you want to drill your holes into the ends of your skis basically, and use a good heavy rope, like a good 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 inch rope, something that's heavy duty. And it's not just for the skis, but it's also for yourself. I can put a thick rope around me and it's not digging into me. A lot of guys will use too thin of a rope, like a 1/4 inch rope, because they got something laying around in the garage. It's crap and it digs into you. So I do like a good rope, but the downhill skis don't have as much flex. And so a cross-country ski has more wow to it. Downhill skis are stiffer, so they don't flex as much. So they when you pull them, they'll get up on top of stuff more instead of flexing, especially if you have a heavy sled with a lot of weight in it. So, and now guys will laugh at me, but I have a sled on my sled. So I have a couple old Otter sleds that I put on my Smitty sled. Now, why is that? Well, it's a bit, I need the length. I needed a big tub that's plastic because we have crap in there. We have fish in there sometimes. And so in a nice long, it was hard for me to find a long enough sled to put my shelter in. My shelter is like, it's not 6 feet tall, but it's a good 5 feet tall, right? So I wanted a sled that was long enough to put my shelter in, so it's not hanging out the back. And I actually have a cover for the whole thing to cover it. So when we're walking across the lake and it's blowing and snowing, everything keeps the snow off everything, because you don't want to get like your buddy heater covered in snow when you get out there and you're having to light it and it's all wet. You want to try and have a cover for your sled. So I know it sounds costly, but the sled will outlive me. Like I have the plastic sled on top of my Smitty sled. Also, I can just pull the sled if I want to. Like I don't need the Smitty sled. If I'm on ice, bare ice, I'll just pull the plastic sled.
Yeah.
So it gives me some versatility, Scotty. Does that make sense?
100%.
So, yeah.
100%. So here we are. We've talked about the essentials, and we've talked about clothing, food. Now we're getting to the good stuff, and that is what are we bringing to target the fish? And obviously, we've talked about minnow heads.
Yeah.
We've talked about waxworms, all kinds of stuff. Is there anything that you cannot leave at home?
Dude, it's right here.
There it is.
Look at that. I even got the right stickers on there.
I love it, buddy. Well done.
So this is you can hear I've got a couple tip-up bells in there. You can hear that.
Yep.
Okay. This is my favorite ice fishing piece of equipment. Why? Okay. This is an ammunition box from Canadian Tire. I like the one that has the tray inside. Okay. This is what are these? $25, $30 maybe, maybe more, not maybe up no more than $40. So you got storage in here. Okay. You got your tray. And then I have nothing in it, and that's on purpose, and I'll explain why. It's got a nice latch right there, and it's got little quick access right here. Okay. This is waterproof. Okay. Now I'm not going to submerge it down the hole, but it keeps everything inside. What I'm going to do, Scotty, I have in my tickle trunk over here, I have all my ice fishing lures in boxes like this. Okay. Basically little 3,700 boxes.
Yeah.
I can put like 8 of these in here. Okay. So what am I going for? I got all my Williams type spoons, rattle baits, blade baits, small blade baits. Yep, there you go, right there. Now I got, if I'm going panfish, I got panfish. I have ooh, this is a nice one. This is one of my favorite little boxes. So this is Gamakatsu.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there's all my slab grabbers. You notice I got the big ones. I love the big slab grabbers, the bigger ones. I do have some small ones. On this side, I don't want to spill it. Bunch of my little spoons, rattle spoons, flasher spoons. This is probably a lot of them have glow in the dark on them, but I can make myself my kit. So I'm going pan fishing on Saturday, make my kit. And then, Sunday we're going to go, I got a call. We're going to go to Quinny. All I have to do, dude, is come home, bring this downstairs, swap out my lures. Over there, I have 2 rod cases, one full of panfish rods and one full of like medium and medium heavy, while I'm going for walleye or lake trout. And I can just switch out. If I'm going on Erie and we're going to go mainly perch, I'll throw a couple of medium heavy ice rods in that case for pike, or I'll throw a tip up in there. So, but this ammo box And I know Scotty, like Lawrence and Jim already talked about some of their favorite things. This is my favorite thing because it's so versatile and it's so cheap.
Yeah.
Now, I can keep, and again, not just tackle. This tray is I usually have my tools right here. I have my headlamp. Everyone needs a headlamp. Absolutely. Spare batteries. What's in there? It smells. Anyway. And then as you cut and retie your lures, that's what I love this little pouch for, this little drawer. If I don't want to put my lure right back, I'm just going to put it in there. This is my hand warmers going here. Dude, this is and actually I have one and I got one for Trevor. One, so he stays out of mine. But two, he has his own. So if we go running and gunning and I'll bring a small sled just for one of us to run around in. Just throw that in your sled. This is a great, if you're going stocking stuff or hunting for an ice angler, this is great. Dude, if you called me to go ice fishing, right? And you're like, you might say, Jay, I got everything. I got an auger, I got a hut. What do? I'm not bringing a backpack. I'm bringing this.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite rod cases over there. And I'm going to show up. I'm already wearing my suit. I got all my tools in here. I got all my tackle I need, and I got my rod case. I'm ready to go. If you're going with an outfitter, everything you need can go right in here. This goes on the floor beside you, and you can. And also, it's a flat top, dude. You know how many times I store my coffee on there? Like, it's awesome. This is. And get the one with the tray inside. There's smaller versions of it. Get the nice big one. I'm telling you, and it fits. And it fits anywhere. So there you go. That's my great tip for all you anglers out there.
One tip that I want to share when it comes, and it's something that I saw. I think it was last week, and it's more geared towards tying flies. But if you've got big sausage fingers hands like I do, and you're trying to tie small little tungsten jigs, it can sometimes be cumbersome, to say the least, especially if you forget your glasses. I came across this tool, and I'm sure you've seen this before. I have not. It is absolutely ingenious. Unfortunately, the video doesn't show. It doesn't do a great job of showing how that not necessarily gets tied.
Yeah,
but you get the gist of what it is that it's trying to do. And as I said, some of those small little tungsten jigs that we use.
Yeah,
this to me is like something that I could definitely use for myself.
You know what? I have a confession to make because my stigmatism is getting worse with age. So I haven't quite gone to reading glasses, but I will. I'm going to get reading glasses. But one thing I found, and I do this at home all the time, and I'm thinking about you, Jay Pearson, your good call on the headlamp. A good LED headlamp, especially one that's got like 3 or 4 brightness settings on it. I will wear that thing in the house rigging up, especially ice fishing stuff. Those little lures are so tiny that instead of having a good desk lamp, I have a good headlamp. And when I'm out fishing, I'm in the shelter and it's dark during the day. I got the windows all closed up because we're fishing. I will use that headlamp all damn day to change lures. Instead of cracking a window, I just have that headlamp. A lot of times I just have it on. I have my hat on backwards. I got the headlamp on all day. And if you come in that shelter at noon, I'm wearing a headlamp in there changing baits. It's going to happen. I use that headlamp a lot.
100%. Mike, you're not alone, dude. We all are. And I have to say, I've been wearing readers for the last 2 years now. Love them. I don't know how I lived without them, to be quite honest with you. But as we do get older, the eyesight and everything else starts to change and deteriorate.
Yeah, it does.
Anything else on the tackle that I mean, you covered just about everything.
Everyone covered it. Like I do, I do like a couple good little tackle bags. I have a couple small, if you buy like the smaller Plano or the smaller Frabril pouches, I like those for soft plastics. Like I do enjoy some of the microplastics from Berkeley. Clam makes some good ones. I'll keep some of my soft plastics in a little pouch. But why I don't like the bags is the bags will freeze into the ice. If I set this down on the bottom of the ice hut, now if I'm using the big shelter, I also have the foam pads we'll put down. I don't cover the whole floor. I just make sure there's one under my feet, and there's at least one other one, maybe two. So we'll bring 4 because then Trevor and I will each have one for our feet and then one for your stuff. I can just set this on top of it. I can set a rod down on top of it. It's not going to freeze into the ice. In the shelter, I'm not worried about it freezing in, but things just get wet, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't like using the bags at all. The rod cases, like we don't each have our own rod case. We usually do we just share rods. We have for rods, like we have a whole, depending on what we're fishing for, a whole different assortment of rods. And so before we go out, we kind of plan. I say with ice fishing is the one of the few times of the year where him and I actually team up together. So we're not bringing too much. We actually have a discussion about what we're bringing and what we're fishing for and how we're rigging up, because we're going to share that. He has his own flasher. I have my own flasher. He has his own tackle box, but but at the same time, I don't have like 2 of these. Like if he wants something out of here, he uses it and vice versa, but we tend to plan it best we can. So yeah.
Good stuff. Jay, we've gone well over our half hour, but I'll tell you gave us so much information.
Jay Pierce makes up a good point, and I'll mention this. Something for under your propane tank, as your propane tank will sink into the ice, and then it might freeze into the ice. So I will have one of those rubber foam pads for the bottom of the propane tank. And what I use is a small step stool that's collapsible.
Right.
That I put my buddy heater on, so it's up off the ice. If you have your buddy heater right on the ice, you will get melting going on in your hut. If you have your buddy heater up off the ice, even a few inches on, even a milk crate is a great thing too. Why I like the collapsible stool is because the milk crate will have something in it. Yeah. And then I have to take out whatever, unless I have my heater in it, but have something like a plastic milk crate or a small stool to put your buddy heater on, and even your propane tank up off the ice so it doesn't freeze into the ice or get damaged. So that's an important thing too.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Thanks as always, Jay. We've taken so much of your time already tonight. We really appreciate you spending this amount of time with us as you do every Monday. Look forward to seeing you again next week. And all we can say is get out and enjoy some of those crappie, bluegill, and all kinds of perks.
It's the season. Before we go tonight, I'm going to give a shout out though to Jay Pierce. So I'm glad he's here tonight. On the weekend was the show in London, right? Yeah. And I couldn't go. Just this time of year, there's just too many family obligations going on. But I was sharing some of their content. They were putting out some great stuff. It looked like they had a good turnout. Congrats to the organizers. Yep. It was awesome. I won one of the door prizes, which was, I shouldn't say door prizes. I won a bunch of raffle tickets to go in the door prizes. So you could buy tickets there, or I won a bunch. And so I reached out to Jay Pierce. Jay's in London. Him and his wife Lynn been ice fishing with them a lot. In fact, it was great to chat with Jay because I know I'm going to see him ice fishing soon. I'm sure. I hope so. And anyway, so I said to Jay, I gave him a job. I said, if you're going to the show, go get my prize. He knows the organizer of the show. I want you to give my tickets out to any deserving kids in that room so they can win. They can have more chance of winning prizes. So I want to give him a shout out to, let's see, he gave the tickets to Link McCready. So Dave McCready's family. And so it was to Link and Dave, or Link and a second sheet, and gave those to Robert. So shout out to Jay for putting some smiles on some kids' faces. We don't know if they won any more prizes or not, but it's great. They had some great door prizes, but I was happy to make that happen. and from a good guy like Jay Pierce. So that's fantastic. So thanks again, Jay, for going to bat for me. Although I'm sure it wasn't hard to give stuff to kids at a fishing show, but I wish I could have been there. It looked like a great time. It really did.
Yeah.
So
Brad told me it was a good turnout. It certainly met and exceeded people's expectations on what to expect from a show of that size and that caliber. So, and people spent money. That's the main thing. People spent money. It was good to hear. Jay, as always, my friend, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks,
you
buddy.
enjoy the rest of your week, and of course, get out there on the weekend and hopefully hook a few for us.
Dude, I hope so. We got family this weekend, and so no ice fishing this weekend, but everything is going to be ready. That is what I wanted, and in fact, I will give my teenage, complacent, mentally gapping child credit, because he came through this weekend and helped Dad get all the ice fishing stuff ready. It's not ready, but it can be ready in short order once we get the call. I know buddies who have been out, went north this weekend. They found some safe ice, and they weren't being dangerous or reckless. It was safe ice. There is some safe ice out there. You have to drive to find it, but social media is working hard. Everyone pay attention, be smart out there. And we'll give some more ice tips coming up in the next couple of CFN lives, because this can't be talked about enough. But definitely next week, dude, we'll give the how-tos on spudding. We do that every year. How to spud for ice, and we'll show that video from Target Walleye, which is the dude in that blue. He's in the blue suit. That is the best video I've ever seen about explaining how to spud properly for ice.
Amen.
So we'll talk about that next week. I'll have my spud with me, and my safety gear, and we'll talk about that. All right?
Right on, dude. You enjoy the rest of your week. All the best, my friend. All right, and that's our show for tonight. Thanks to Jim. Thanks to Lawrence. And, of course, Jay, who is always the anchor leg, brings a wealth of information and current information to our show. We truly appreciate that and everything he does. Guys, get out, enjoy some hard water, get geared up. The weekend and the hard water season is fast approaching. If it hasn't already approached you already, if you're out west, I know, Alexander, Bill Landry, there's a bunch of them are already out enjoying the hard water. I can't wait to get out myself. Hopefully this weekend might be the first. We'll see you out there. We'll be thinking of you. And of course, we want to see your picks. So send them to the Canadian Fishing Network. Go to the message bar, click the message bar, and it will allow you to send us a pick, on which we will then, whether it be Walter, myself, most likely Steve, we'll do an edit, feature it on the page, and make you an instant star. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'd love to see you guys enjoying yourselves as much as possible. So make sure you send videos, pics, and anything else you want to share and promote on CFN. All the best, my friends. Until next time, take care. Dave, take us away. Peace.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end.